A Mochi moment from Mark, who writes, I just want to thank you for making GLP-1s affordable. What would have been over $1,000 a month is just $99 a month with Mochi. Money shouldn't be a barrier to healthy weight. 3 months in, and I have smaller jeans and a bigger wallet. You're the best. Thanks, Mark. I'm Myra Ahmed, founder of Mochi Health. To find your Mochi moment, visit joinmochi.com.
Mark is a Mochi member compensated for his story.
This podcast is supported by Talkspace.
When my husband came home from his military deployment, readjusting was hard for all of us. Thankfully, I found Talkspace.
Talkspace provides professional support from licensed therapists and psychiatric providers online. Military members, veterans, and their dependents ages 13 and older can get fast access to providers, all from the privacy of their computers or smartphones.
I just answered a few questions online, and Talkspace matched me with a therapist. We meet when it's convenient for me, and I can message her anytime. It was so easy to set up, and they accept TRICARE. Therapy was going so well, my husband and I started seeing a couples therapist through Talkspace too.
Talkspace works with most major insurers, including TRICARE. Match with a licensed therapist today at Talkspace.com/military. Go to Talkspace.com/military to get started today. That's Talkspace.com/military.
Welcome to the Retreat Leaders Podcast, your sanctuary with retreat experts, where we spill the tea on retreat success. Here we dive into crafting transformational guest experiences, talk about how to avoid pitfalls, and unlock marketing secrets. Whether you're a seasoned guru or a budding enthusiast, we've got the inside scoop for you. Join us as we learn how to flourish in this magical world of retreats. Hey guys, welcome back to the Retreat Leaders Podcast. Today, I am so excited to say that not only do I have an amazing guest, but she's becoming an amazing friend and soon to be business partner, which we cannot wait to talk about that. We're going to drop some little hints about what we have in store. But Allison, welcome to the show again.
It is always a good day in my world when I can talk to you, Shannon. So it's all good.
Amen. Yeah. I feel the same. So, Allison, why don't you just refresh for those who maybe did hear your show, or just let people know who you are and what brought you to this point.
Sure. My name is Alison Katschkowsky, and you don't have to say that for those of you listening. Most people just say Alison K, but just so you know, when you look at my last name, the CH is silent. So it's really just Katz Koski. So it's a little bit easier to say, but Allison K works. And my background is in health and fitness. I've been in the health and fitness industry for over 30 years. I was a very successful brick and mortar business owner for a lot of those years until I started going online about 10 years ago. That's about when I started doing retreats. It was probably 2013, 2014, something in there, when it was really still a very new concept. And so what I figured out is that the big question back then is do we need to just, now that online is becoming big, and everyone was moving their business online, it was like, well, we're just going to go in this direction. And so my argument was always, you don't have to choose one, you can do both. And then when the pandemic hit, everybody went online. And now what's interesting is that everybody's going back to adding some kind of in-person, because you and I are both seeing this in the retreat space. It's just, it's blowing up. Everybody and their mother is thinking about retreats now, which is great. It's great for us. It's great for the industry. Yes. But I just think there is a lot of opportunity there for so many people.
I love this. One of the things that Allison and I talked about before we recorded is kind of the topics, which Allison and I could spend, honestly, you guys, weeks on this podcast talking about business and retreats and all of that good stuff. But one of the things I thought would be really relevant is a hybrid model. And Allison, you are the queen of this. You help people build this. So tell me what that looks like for the retreat industry. What does that even mean when we say hybrid model?
Before I get to that, let me just kind of give my little analogy when I talk about the hybrid model. When we think about a hybrid model, what are we really talking about? We're really talking, the best example I can offer for people, because I'm a big analogy person. The best example I can offer for people is think about the hybrid car. What does the hybrid car do? The hybrid car allows you to use gas or electricity, right? So it's both. And so one of the selling points is because it's a hybrid model, the car can go further. You can get further on a tank of gas. Therefore, it's the maintenance is better, right? It will cost you less in gas in the long run. So you see they're not the car, literally, there's no choice made as to whether or not you go one or the other. The same thing is true when we do the hybrid business model in our business. Now, back in 2012, 2013, 2014, when the online space was really blowing up, this is when social media was really becoming the thing. A lot of people were starting to think, this is kind of the direction that I want to go with my business. And in my industry, it was blowing up like crazy. Then what happened when the pandemic hit is that everybody went online. And the good news is that we could go online because it was available. But the bad news is that people sort of got away from being in person. And now what we're seeing, because it's 2025, is that really the best combination, the best plan is to combine both. And one of the things that I started doing back when the online space was really getting big was that I started slowly dipping my toe in the water of online. And what did that look like? It looked like offering like online challenges, like connecting with people online. And then, of course, when the pandemic hit, it was like you had to go all in. And for me and a lot of other people in my industry, I had to basically start over. Basically, my business as I knew it went out the window. But it was time for me to put my money where my mouth was and really make it work. And that's what I did. And that's one of the things that I really teach my clients how to do today, because you don't have to choose. That's the beauty of it.
That is the beauty of it, is that you don't have to choose, especially today, because you're right, Allison. Years ago, to be honest with you, years ago, the online business was not, obviously what it is today, but you kind of felt like you had to fall into one or the other categories. So you're absolutely right. Tell me.
And there are a lot of people today that still feel like you have to fall into one or the other. Because these are conversations I have every day with people when they say, well, I can't really be myself online. I can't really, it just doesn't feel the same. I'm not good at it. Or they'll say about in person, well, that's just not really what I do. This is what I'm used to. And this is kind of the conundrum that we found ourselves in.
Hey, retreat leaders, pause that retreat planning for just a second, because I've got something you do not want to miss. I'm headed to London this October to host a live event that's all about teaching you how to host a retreat that's not just transformational, but actually profitable. Imagine sipping tea or champagne with other like-minded leaders while mapping out your next sold-out retreat. It's happening at the gorgeous Waldorf Hilton in London. I'm spilling all the secrets, from pricing to planning, marketing to mindset, and you'll walk away with a strategy you can actually use. No fluff, no BS, just results. So head to retreatmastermindtraining.com and come join me across the pond. Yeah, totally agree. I hear that all the time, as well as just people saying, well, my business is online. They're not going to want to meet in person, or the other way around. Everything I do is in person. So you're right. It is. Sometimes we get pigeonholed and we just assume that it has to be in that way.
Totally.
Can you give us an example of maybe somebody you've worked with and like what this looks like in real life when somebody is considering a hybrid model?
Well, there are actually lots of examples, but one example pretty much right now is I have a client right now who has an primarily in-person business. This is how people work with her. They come to see her, they book an appointment with her. She has some online resources, like she has an ebook and she has some other things, but it's really hardly the same thing as having an experience with her. And one of the things that we're actually working on right now is building out a retreat piece to go with her in-person business. Now, that might not seem like a typical hybrid model, but what she has to do is literally build an online presence to go with that in-person offering. Because in order to offer retreats, if you have a successful in-person business, is that you have to be always reaching more people. So this is something else that we hear a lot of people say, where they say, well, I don't know that my people would want to go on a retreat. I don't know if my people would want to do something in person. And so my question is always, how do you know that they don't? And so what we have to always ask ourselves is, what are we doing to consistently put ourselves out there and have us meet more people and expand our audience? And that's really what it's all about too.
I'm biased, of course, but for me, if there's anyone that I trust and I work with in any capacity or just consume their information, I would love to fucking get in person. You know what I mean? Like whether it's a conference or a mastermind or a retreat, whatever it is. I don't, yes, I'm sure there are people in this world who are incredibly introverted and just like that just makes their skin crawl. But for the most part, I think there's a good audience for anybody doing anything online that they could create an in-person experience.
Yeah, and the energy is just different when you're in person. Like, think about it when
Hmm.
you go to an in-person event. It's very different than if you're on, say, a Zoom call or a group networking session or something online where you see everybody's faces and they're just, squares on the screen. You can still talk to people because I think human connection can still be meaningful that way, but it's not the same thing from being in person.
I agree. I agree. And I'm grateful, right? We're grateful that we have these
Totally.
online tools that we can do these things. But I'll be honest with you. So I belong to Genius Network. It's an incredible networking group. It's really a servant group that's just incredible. And every month we meet either online or in person. You can choose one or the other, right? So that it fits your schedule. And I hope they don't hear this, but the online, I like minimize it. I'm doing other
Yep.
work. It's still
Yep.
just as good information. It's just
Yep.
badass. But I'm over
Yep.
here multitasking. I'm answering text messages, whatever. The in person lights my fire so
Yes.
much that when I
Totally.
get back home, I am like, bring it. We're fixing to
Yep.
make some shit happen. And so, yes, am I grateful that we have the tools available? Absolutely.
Totally.
Do I think though that we get more, or at least a very vibrant, different,
Yeah.
action-packed energy from in person? Yes, I do.
Totally. Yeah, and I just think that to piggyback on what you just said and to sort of finish my thought from before is that you really want to think about the hybrid model from two vantage points, really. And this is what I have found works the best with most people. It's like the example that I just gave of my current client who has the in-person business and we're adding a retreat. And so you might be sitting there thinking, well, that's two in-person elements. Well, you're right, it is, but she's also building an online presence to go with it. That can still be considered a hybrid model. The other way to look at it would be if you primarily serve your clients online, whether that's a membership or an online program or a mastermind or whatever, group coaching program, and then you insert some type of in-person retreat experience, whether it be a private retreat, a small group retreat, a boutique retreat, or even a small group summit, right? Then that is also can be considered a hybrid model. The advantage, the commonality with both of those is that you've taken your expertise and you're monetizing it in a number of different ways. And that is really what it's about for the future.
Amen. Hallelujah. Oh my goodness, you're
Yep.
speaking my language. I'm hoping that there's people listening to this that either have been considering retreats or are in the retreat business, because you're right, either side, and are
Yeah,
thinking creatively how they can add that other aspect.
totally.
So if
Right.
you are hosting retreats, how can you add on that online aspect, which by the way continues to support the people that
Yep.
you are working with
Totally.
or who've showed up, right? And then if you're online, how can you incorporate in-person events? I mean, I know you and I are like, duh, this is a no-brainer, but I'm
Yeah.
hoping that there's
Right.
like creative juices that are
Right.
flowing for people on either side going, ooh, I could do X. And X doesn't have to look like what Allison does, and it doesn't have to look
Yep.
like what I do. Like X could
Any
be,
number of different ways. Yeah.
yeah. And I love that you're like, it could be a summit, it could be a mastermind, it could be
Yep.
a gathering, it could be a retreat, it could
Yep.
be, look, it could be whatever. And
Yeah.
same thing for the online portion of it. It could be coaching, it could be group coaching, it could be mastermind, it could be, I mean, it literally could be all the same names that you use for the other side. It's just structured differently. And the content is provided however it is that you like to provide content. So,
Yeah, and you just, well, I think too, for people listening, I think what you want to always keep in mind is that the object, if you're an entrepreneur now going into the future, the object is really about your personal brand. It's about what are you about and what do you stand for? What are you for and what are you against? And it's like when you look at being able to offer a number of different ways that people can access you. So, in a way that, I mean, people could come into you from your website, from a newsletter, from a challenge of some type, from an online program that you're offering. But don't discount those in person opportunities too, because there's a number of different ways that you can monetize all of what you do. And then that sets you up not only financially better for the future, but it puts you in a position where you're always meeting people. And when you're a business owner, you can never know too many people.
okay. So I love that we are talking financials a little bit because, as people who have listened to my podcast know, I'm in the retreat business, not the
Yes.
retreat hobby. And
Yep.
so Allison and I, and our good friend Aaron now daily have conversations about this.
Yep.
And also, hint,
Yep.
hint, this will be part
Yep.
of what we launch. And I think we're launching it in October. Um,
October, right?
yeah, so stay tuned. But
Yep.
we're launching it in October, but it will be happening in 2026.
Right.
Anyhow, we're all about how can we increase our business and our profit.
Totally.
And this, again, is to me a no-brainer. If you're doing really well in the online space, dude, add that in-person space, and it just contributes to your bottom line, and vice versa. You're still serving the same people. It's still in your genre. It's all connected. It's just a different way of delivering the information and adding more profit to your bottom line.
Yeah, and also I think too, what I just want to say again for people listening is that it really, and I don't want to make it sound like we're just sitting here counting money in money bags. It's not about greed at all. It's really about being able to serve at a much higher level. And when you're able to offer somebody a transformative experience, like something in person, like a retreat or a group event or something, you're just adding massive value for them, and you're adding massive value for yourself, and it's a win for everybody.
Yes. See, speaking the same language. Win, 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 win for everybody. I just love that so much. The other thing that we kind of talked about real briefly is the business logistics side, right? So whatever your LLC is, or your company, or your formation, that you've started it off at X. It's online, or it's retreats. There's no need at the beginning to do anything differently, right? I mean, Allison, you were just talking about this. Tell us about your journey, about how that was, and then now what you are thinking of doing in the future because of.
Yeah, when I first started doing retreats, I got to be honest. I'll tell you, because my background's in health and fitness, I thought it was going to be a fitness weekend. That was kind of my initial vision, was to do these boot camps, these workout camps. And I'll tell you, and this is probably a really bad analogy, but I'm just going to say it. My inspiration for doing it was watching programs like The Biggest Loser, where people would just go somewhere and they'd stay for a few days, or in that case, it was a lot longer. And that's not really what I had in mind. But it was taking people out of town somewhere where we could really focus on themselves. And since at the time I was 100% working in fitness, operating a very successful small studio with a small team, I thought this is a no-brainer. This is a great way to give people kind of a family type experience. And so over the years, that vision kind of morphed into something a little more boutique-like as I started getting more involved and interested in personal development and, daily self-care strategies. I've always loved to travel. And so I sort of found a niche in providing what I like to call a futuristic visionary experience. One of the things that I use in all of my retreat programs is the use of a compass. I talk all about the direction that you're moving, the direction of your future, being aligned with your future self, et cetera, et cetera. So that's a lot of what we do. But now, back then, all I was thinking about was offering, this would be a really fun experience to offer for my clients. I wasn't even thinking about starting another business. I was just thinking, ding, 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 this is a way to help more people. This is a way to give them more. It's going to be fun for me. Let's just try it and see what happens. And they started off as really small groups, and then they grew to like 6 to 8 people traditionally, which is usually about my sweet spot. And so now, 10, 12 years later, at some point, what I'm looking at in the next year or two is branching off the retreat part of my business and starting a whole separate company. Yeah. Because I'm traveling more and more, as are you. And, there's a lot more that's on the horizon ahead that's going to be tied into this direction for me. And so what I want people listening to understand is, look, dip your toe in at first and kind of play with it and make it work for you. And then if it makes sense down the road, then we can certainly talk about what that looks like as a business.
Yeah, I totally agree. Yeah, I love this so much. So if you haven't gotten anything else from this podcast, expand your horizon and think creatively about how you could add either the online portion or the in-person portion to your current business model. Allison's contact information will be in the show notes. She is the master at helping you brainstorm this, build it, envision it, get it going. So please contact her. And she's got an incredible retreat coming up in Italy. Allison, tell us about that retreat.
In October. And at the time that we're recording this, we have 4 rooms open. And I'm partnering with a colleague of mine who lives over there, and she speaks the language, and she's a phenomenal health coach. And we've got an amazing program where we've got introductions into private family vineyards and wineries and gardens and things that you're just not going to find if you go on TripAdvisor or Google and look for the cool thing to do on the Amalfi Coast, which is where we're going to be. So if this kind of speaks to you, then I definitely would encourage you to reach out, because I'm really expecting these rooms to fill up. fairly soon.
Love it. They absolutely will. So, Allison, thank you so much for being on the show, and I can't wait to release our big stuff coming in the future.
No, we're gonna have to come back and do another episode about that.
Oh no, absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah, 100%.
Thanks for listening to the Retreat Leaders Podcast. Learn more at www.theretreatranch.com. See you next time.
Finding great candidates to hire can be like, well, trying to find a needle in a haystack. Sure, you can post your job to some job board, but then all you can do is hope the right person comes along. Which is why you should try ZipRecruiter for free at ziprecruiter.com/zip. ZipRecruiter doesn't depend on candidates finding you. It finds them for you. Its powerful technology identifies people with the right experience and actively invites them to apply to your job. You get qualified candidates fast. So while other companies might deliver a lot of hay, ZipRecruiter finds you what you're looking for. The needle in the haystack.
See why 4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. ZipRecruiter, the smartest way to hire. And right now, you can try ZipRecruiter for free. That's right, free at ziprecruiter.com/zip. That's ziprecruiter.com/zip. ziprecruiter.com/zip.
Dreaming of blissful summer days and creamy popsicles? Capture sun-drenched memories with the Orange Vanilla Dream Hydration Multiplier from Liquid IV. Just 1 stick and 16 ounces of water can help hydrate you better than water alone. Live your summer dream with Liquid IV. Tear, pour, live more. Go to liquidiv.com and get 20% off your first order with code INDULGE20 at checkout.